All right. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. This is David Patrick Carey with Church of the Eternal Logos. And tonight, I want to talk to you guys about a very interesting happening right now on social media. And that is what I'm calling the Andrew Tate phenomenon. Money, the Manosphere, and the Overton window. And so what I want to talk to you guys about today is a character that I'm sure some of you are seeing all over your social media feeds, especially on Instagram and TikTok and now Switch. And you're seeing his stories appear on YouTube. So if you have the YouTube app on your phone, for example, the little stories that they now do there, you're seeing a guy named Andrew Tate all over the place. And so tonight what I want to do is not so much, I've already seen people going back and forth in the chat. I'm not so much going to come on here to try to talk about him as a sort of spiritual guru like I do Sadhguru or Osho. I'm not here to criticize, him at a philosophical level and his theological presuppositions. No. We get it. And as we're going to watch some clips today, I'm going to say right now from the beginning, guys, there's going to be a lot of profanity. A lot of profanity and explicit words being spoken when we start to watch some of the videos of Andrew Tate. So if that's something that you're not comfortable with, you don't want to see, then please do not watch the second half of this stream where we're going to be playing videos and hearing the ideas of Andrew Tate. So to describe what's going on here, Andrew Tate is an American. He's actually a Hoosier. He's actually born here in the Hoosier State in Indiana. And his dad was a very prominent chess player, Emery Tate. And so Andrew has a younger brother named Tristan. And so he actually did an interview with Jay Dyer last year. So Tristan Tate did an interview with Jay Dyer over on his channel. You guys can still check it out. It's up. And so I'm here really what I want to do is talk about Andrew Tate and the phenomenon. Right, I noticed that some of the rhetoric already from people talking is he's an idiot, he's a moron, or he's not very Christian, he needs to repent, and I get all that stuff. But here's the thing: is he's not claiming to be a spiritual guru, and he's not even claiming to be a great Christian. Ironically, though, he is Orthodox. He's part of the Romanian Orthodox Church. So, Andrew Tate is how he grew to prominence was actually through kickboxing. And so he's a former world champion in kickboxing who has sort of taken the internet by storm. And that's what we're going to be talking about, this sort of phenomenon. How did he do it and what does it mean? That's what I'm more concerned about than his profanity or the fact that he has multiple girlfriends, obviously advocates for premarital sex, all this different stuff, which we as Orthodox Christians aren't going to promote. But at the same time, as we watch some of these videos, there's a lot of ideas that, yes, it's brass. Yes, it's a little bit too profane. But at the same time, the underpinnings of a lot of the stuff he talks about is actually conducive with our worldview. And so that's what I really want to look at is keep in mind the Overton window. This concept of acceptable political ideas and cultural ideas in speech. Because this is what I believe is ultimately going to be the biggest impact that Andrew Tate, and it's only going to get bigger. I don't know if some of you guys know, he's all over the social medias. I'm going to tell you how that's happening too, but it's getting ready to blow up because he's going on the bigger Twitch streams and everything like that this coming week. So Andrew Tate, a world-famous kickboxer, him and his brother basically became millionaires through owning a webcam service. So they would have girlfriends. Those girlfriends then would do webcam services where they would talk with men. And I'm sure there was, sexual things going on between the webcams. And so this is how I first came to know of Andrew Tate. This was probably like 3 years ago, maybe 4 years ago or something. Was him talking about, I think he was talking about some issue in culture or whatnot, and talking about, again, how his brother and him became wealthy. They became wealthy through a webcam service. And so they would have girls on the webcams, and they would take the money and then give a piece of it back to the girls. And all these girls they were in sort of romantic relationships with, and this is how they sort of acquired their loyalty. And so now they've invested in so many different things. To say the only way they make money is through webcam services is not accurate whatsoever at all. But to say that they're multimillionaires and that, it's a sort of pimp. Yeah, Crispy, yeah, he's a kind of pimp. But now he has, he claims, over $10 million in supercars. He's got a Bugatti, and he's on every major social media. So I like, it's like fitness influencers. I like Mike Thurston. Andrew Tate's over on Mike Thurston's channel, showing the Bugatti, working out, showing him how to kickbox and box. He's over on the Aiden Ross stream on Twitch. This is what happened last week, which just catapulted this dude's prominence on social media even higher. And so they made this money. They became millionaires. They live a very nice lifestyle in Romania. And so more recently, they've been doing a lot of male empowerment rhetoric. And this is where I want to talk about how this is part of a happening called the Manosphere. And for those of you who don't know, there's an entire content production. There's an entire niche audience, and it's growing larger and larger and larger and larger. And this is really important for us to keep in mind to understand what's happening at a larger sociological, cultural level. And that is the Manosphere is a group of men talking about sort of male empowerment, how men can better become sort of powerful, dominant, masculine figures to sort of realign the sexual boundaries. But this is all a conversation that really takes place in a sort of secular framework. So you don't have a lot of people in the Manosphere that would be, we would say, traditional Christians or traditionally religious in one way or another. We would say that they have traditional values, but they certainly haven't gone down the sort of pre-sup or the tag approach. They're not going to be interested in all that stuff. But people like Rollo Tomassi, I don't know if you're familiar with him. He wrote a book that has gained wide prominence in the sort of Manosphere. There's a guy named Rich Cooper, has a prominent YouTube channel. Again, I played a clip from Coach Greg, the black gentleman talking about the spirit of Jezebel in my Thirst Trap stream last time. There's a guy named Kevin Samuels, who unfortunately passed away. And he also was doing conversation where his content in the Manosphere changed from sort of male encouragement, masculinity, to doing prominent FaceTime conversations with women and basically showing women that they are wanting men totally out of their league. The type of men that they think they're going to get aren't even interested in these types of women. And so this has been a growing audience. It's a place for rhetoric that actually supports masculinity, supports traditional men, supports male empowerment. This is the Manosphere. And this has been, and this has grown in a variety of ways where now we have channels like, I don't know if you've seen Fresh and Fit, which I'm not too interested in. It doesn't really jive with my sort of intellectual likings of whatnot. But basically, Fresh and Fit's another one of these channels. But their whole shtick is being in Miami and getting all these girls, these sugar babies or whatnot, and having them come on the channel. And then they do live streams, and it's the same thing. It's getting these girls who are uneducated, unsophisticated, totally inundated with the dogma of today's feminism, and then basically make a fool of themselves on, in live streams with tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of people watching, and then they hit them with the same old Manosphere stuff that, look, a traditional masculine man, 6 figures, 6-pack, 6 foot, he's not going to want you. Look, your body counts over 20, all this type of stuff. But this has been so appealing for young men, because where else could young men actually hear this type of rhetoric? And that's where I think Andrew Tate is indicative of a sort of second wave, of a sort of movement beyond the Manosphere, or ratcheting it up a notch to a degree. And so to begin, Andrew Tate obviously does not speak or teach, or any of the ideas we're going to listen to today, it does not come from an orthodox paradigm. Even though, again, technically he is orthodox. He's very critical of Christianity. And his conception of Christianity is basically Western Christianity. It's Catholicism. It's post-Vatican II Catholicism and Protestantism, which rightfully so is an embarrassing representation of Christianity. So agreed. But his shtick is not he's a theologian. His shtick is not how much he knows about world religions or whatnot. So he goes on and often talks about the sort of patriarchal bent of Islam and how beneficial that is for their societies. How when the Muslims move into Western European countries, how those men basically, their traditionality sort of dwarfs or trumps some of the the local like German men or Western European men. And to a degree, again, can't blame him there. I agree with him. But his framework, as we listen to his talks, is coming more, if I could really pinpoint like what the fundamental presupposition is, it really is a sort of survival of the fittest, which isn't necessarily wrong, because what that does is get us back to thinking about competition. Male competition is essential for the categorization and the organization of men, generally speaking. We must categorize ourselves based on competency, which is displayed through competition. Whether that's a YouTube channel, whether that's kickboxing, whether that's how much money you make, everything as men is a competition. And this is how then we differentiate and show and represent who exactly we are, our values and our capabilities. And so he's coming from a place where basically everything is brought together and works within a sort of Darwinian evolutionary, survival of the fittest paradigm. And he also, in regards to God, because he does reference God and he does reference religion or traditionality, and he claims that him and his brother do go to church on Sundays in Romania. And he recommends young men to go to church, that if you believe in God, at least you should have enough respect to go give honor to God at least 1 hour, 2 hours of the week. And so I would say Andrew Tate, absolutely. I think that's great advice for these young men. And then generally speaking, so his conception is generic. It's a generic concept of the unitary God, of a sort of masculine patriarchal God. So, it kind of fits. It's just a general monotheistic God. It's not necessarily emphatic about the Trinity or the Holy Trinity or anything like that. Again, that's not his thing. His thing is about money, about masculinity, and about male empowerment. Now, he also then advocates, and this comes from Rollo Tomassi and a lot of these other guys in the sort of manosphere. Guys, smash that like. We got a lot of people here and the likes are low. Smash those likes, guys. Please, please, please smash those likes. And so they talk about the old world and the new world thinking. And this is a big concept, again, like red pill, blue pill. So the manosphere is all about the red pill. The manosphere is all about getting young men to take the red pill. And the red pill for them isn't the white pill. It's not the orthodox pill. It's not, again, because I would argue we as orthodox are actually to the far right of the spectrum. We're to the far right of the spectrum. And that's where I would say, Andrew Tate calls himself top G. I would say he actually aids in the cultural benefit of orthodoxy long term. He just doesn't understand. And this is part of the Overton window and the shift of the Overton window. And I would say Andrew Tate, when you start to look at this phenomenon of the pendulum swing of counterculture, what does it mean to be edgy? What does it mean to be punk? What does it mean to be resistant of the globo-homo dominating system? Well, we saw Trump in 2016. We saw Jordan Peterson in 2018. We saw the pandemic in 2020. And now it's 2022. And Andrew Tate, using his resources, using his money, and using his following, is essentially shifting the Overton window by proliferating and saturating social media platforms with his content. How is he doing this? He has, in addition to other businesses he also has something called Hustlers University. And this is something that you pay $50 a month to be a part of. And so he has the Hustlers University, where now I think he said, I forget how many thousands of people now are signed up. They're paying him $50 a month. And if you go, again, I'm not here to question or judge any of the products he sells or the groups he's in. He's got the War Room. I have no idea. I would love to chat with Andrew Tate and Tristan Tate on the channel. Obviously, we have a lot that we would disagree on in regards to, again, it's just going to be Orthodox, traditional Christian theology and Christian concepts and dispositions. So where he's not Orthodox is basically where we would disagree with, and where he is, which is actually more than I think some of us are wanting to give him credit for, we do agree with him. So I don't hate. I actually find the Tate brothers very entertaining. However, as we'll see, again, warning, lots of profanity, explicit content. Second half of this stream, there's going to be a lot of profanity. That's the kind of, obviously, I don't engage with that because of trying to have Christian morals, but Andrew Tate doesn't, and maybe that's also providential in the ways that I think that this Overton window shift is going to shatter and affect the Gen Z males. And so right now he's on a quest. He took over TikTok and Andrew Tate doesn't even have a TikTok account. What he does is he has the Hustlers University. So he's got thousands of these young men who pay $50 a month to belong to Hustlers University, which I understand is a sort of Discord service. It's an online group. And basically they're given opportunities through different individuals to learn how to make more money. So it's through crypto. They can invest in stocks and markets and all these different ways to make money. And one of the ways that Andrew is offering these kids in Hustlers University to make money is to proliferate his content. That somehow they're advocated to take clips of his videos, of which he's going on every important person's podcast. Anybody who'll interview him, he'll go on their stream, and then the kids who are then part of the Hustlers University will take clips of it and then throw it on TikTok, throw it on Instagram, throw it on YouTube, throw it on Twitch. And it just saturates. It saturates. And then because of the content and how controversial it is, it all just grows. Guys, go YouTube Andrew Tate and just look up most viewed videos. Look how many millions of views are on those videos. And almost all those videos are within the last 6 months. This is the Andrew Tate phenomenon. It's kind of genius. It's ingenious that he doesn't even have a TikTok account, and yet he's the most saturated face on TikTok. He's not even on Twitch, and he's doing streams with all the biggest Twitch accounts. I mean, look at Hassan. What is Hassan Ali or whatever, the Young Turks dude? Absolute idiot. He was on doing a conversation with Andrew Tate, and they went back and forth. And so Hassan's putting out all this stuff about, yada yada. But I watched the clip I was going to include. And I was like, I couldn't. Just Hassan's so stupid. It's so low IQ. I couldn't even deal with it. But so this is how then Andrew Tate has sort of been taking over social media. And it's in a way, it's unstoppable because now all these young kids, they create these clips and then they have these links back to Hustlers University. So they get a cut. So if they make a YouTube channel, go on, for example, I don't have a TikTok. If you go on TikTok, and then put in Andrew Tate, you're going to see tons of accounts, hundreds of TikTok accounts. None of them are his. And they all have, followers. And they're putting out the Andrew Tate content. Then they have these links that if somebody were to watch all that content and be interested, oh, maybe I want to follow him. Maybe I want to be part of Hustlers University. They click a link, and then for the $50 they can join, and then the people producing the content get a piece of that. And that's how they're getting paid. Or they can monetize his content and get paid. And so it's an ingenious way that Andrew Tate, in the choice to not monetize any of his own stuff, allows all these other people to take clips of it and saturate social media platforms with him talking about these various topics, especially male empowerment, which makes the women go crazy, which only runs the views up, and then calls all these young Gen Z kids to then watch the content. And then some of them, as we'll watch, he did. So last week was a big deal because Andrew Tate did a prominent live stream with a guy named Aiden Ross, who's basically the biggest streamer on Twitch. I don't know who he is. He's like a 21-year-old kid. He looks kind of feminine. He acts really passive. But he was, he was kind of a fanboy of Andrew Tate, had Andrew Tate come on, and they did a stream, and it was his most successful stream. And of course, it only catapulted him even higher. Well, the Nelk Boys, the largest podcast right now, basically there's Joe Rogan and then there's like the Nelk podcast. They're going to do one with Andrew Tate this coming week. And then they're going to follow him. They're going to go to like this yacht party that's a week in like Croatia or something, Yacht Week or something. And so it's only going to make Andrew Tate even more prominent. That's what I'm saying. What I'm describing to you guys right now, it's only going to grow in the next few months. It's going to accelerate. Now, I would say the reason why Andrew Tate is rising above all the other sort of content creators in the Manosphere is because Andrew and Tristan Tate basically have everything in regards to the package, right? So Rollo Tomasi's got some good ideas, but kind of a older guy, looks like a 80s rocker, not the most attractive guy in the world, certainly not a multimillionaire, certainly doesn't have a bunch of supercars. You got Rich Cooper, he's an older guy, he's got his gray beard. He does have a supercar, maybe a couple supercars, but certainly not hundreds of millions of dollars or tens of millions of dollars. Again, well, his overall worth is debated. And then you have Kevin Samuels was pretty wealthy, and he passed away recently. And I believe, potentially that was to a medical decision that he made, right here, getting the jibby jab. I don't know, though. I just know he died of a heart problem. But sadly, Kevin Samuels passed away. But he didn't have the I don't know. He had a different vibe than Andrew Tate. Andrew Tate is 35 years old. He's a multi-millionaire. He's a world kickbox champion. He owns tons of supercars. He's kind of quick-witted. He's intelligent. Him and Tristan Tate, whether you like him or not, because you'll see they're very egocentric. They're very, braggadocious in certain ways. And obviously, to some degree, this is used as a prop to elevate the sort of characters they're pursuing. I mean, I would say that Andrew Tate, what he does is he has a vision of himself, and then he exacerbates that to be the sort of Andrew Tate character that he does on these streams. So Andrew Tate he clearly rose above all these other teachers in the Manosphere because he's young, he's decent looking, he's got the money. Him and his brother, they're quick-witted, they're intelligent, they can speak for themselves, and so this has allowed him to sort of represent this whole image, this whole manosphere, this whole man making himself and what he talks about being outside the matrix. Because for Tate, being outside the matrix isn't just a thought process. It's not just an ideology. It's not just being an Orthodox Christian. He argues to be out of the matrix, you have to have money. That him and his friends that own private planes, they never had to get vaxxed. They never had to wear masks. They don't have to do any of this stuff because there's a stratification within the world, within societies in regards to the elite and those who don't. And really the elite, it's a money barrier. It's a money threshold that allows you to break out of the matrix. And so I would say this is part of the reason why Andrew and Tristan Tate have become so prominent. Now, again, the main thing that I want to focus on today and what I want us to think about as we watch this content, do not be polarized emotionally. This is what I don't want us to do, and this is what I try not to do when I watch some of these these videos or make contents, or whether I'm doing a guru figure or whatnot. I don't want to be overly polarized, because if I'm emotionally responding to somebody, I'm not clearly thinking. And so we're going to see plenty of things that Andrew Tate's going to say, him and his brother, that we may not agree with. But think about the larger Overton window, the political, cultural, sociological dimensions that this is working on. As I said, I argue and I believe that socially there's been a pendulum swing, and that for so many years, I mean, you could argue, and I would argue, that basically since the Great Schism, since the ancient world, modernity has been moving in this concept towards progress. And so this progressive window, this progressive movement has really, if we're going to use left-to-right spectrums, has been moving more progressive left. And I argued, and I did a stream talking about how I saw Trump in his 2016 election as a sort of ending of that pendulum and a recognition of things going in the opposite direction, because cultural swings and sort of pendulum moments, and that it's moving back towards a sort of right-centered, a sort of masculine-centered, a sort of more conservative geared, and that's going to be the counterculture. And as we've seen, it has been the counterculture. And as we see with these figures, look at Trump. Has Trump gone away? Even though, again, we realize the movement, the representation, the pendulum that Trump was in the front of in 2016, that pendulum is now in front of Trump. Trump's down back here. That's why you listen to Trump now in 2022 and you're like, really, dude? You're a vaccine sale? Really, bro? Really? And so it doesn't resonate because Trump's actually behind the cultural pendulum of movement. And Jordan Peterson picked that up in 2018. And it wasn't until then, it was the 1920 period that he had all his benzo problems. But you see there's this movement, and then 2020 happens, the pandemic, and that radically caused people to ask bigger questions about God, questions about the reality, questions about authority, questions about the federal government, the World Health Organization, Dr. Fauci, Bill Gates. What's the Great Reset? World Economic Forum, Klaus Schwab. Now people are in a process of thinking, criticizing, wondering. And Andrew Tate, we would, in regards to all those topics, he would totally be in alignment with us. He totally gets that. He argues there is an evil elite that are trying to reorganize economically the world structures to create a one world government. Exactly. Agreed. He argues that there's a great reset. He recognizes that there's an effort to feminize men and promote homosexuality and promote all these different things. That are basically degrading our own masculinity and our ability to provide and be the men that we actually are called to be. Agreed, Andrew Tate. We would agree with those things. And so he, in regard to the 2020 pandemic, we would say we're probably on a total agreement with Tate. And so he's speaking about those things publicly, and he can't be deplatformed for saying it. Because what account is TikTok going to delete? All of them? And all those people that are creating more videos? He doesn't own a TikTok account. He doesn't own, I think he has 2 YouTube channels. And so we cannot underestimate the impact that this is going to have on Gen Z males. And that is what I take from the Andrew Tate phenomenon. Not all the things I disagree with. Obviously, I disagree with him. I'm an Orthodox Christian. And technically he is too, but, having multiple women, he advocates for having, multiple women unless you're choosing out of sort of a theological reason to be with one woman, to have multiple women, have multiple girlfriends. And so there's certainly, aspects that we wouldn't agree with, but the way that he's talking about the world, mankind, masculinity, the global elite, government structures, it all moves the pendulum towards us. If we are Orthodox Christians and we're actually on the far right end of the spectrum, or we're in the place, obviously I don't think we're far right. I don't think we're, part of that group. But in a way, our worldview, our paradigm is what validates a lot of the things that Andrew Tate advocates for. So the stuff that he's promoting and the ways that he's affecting these Gen Zers, whether you agree with the teaching or not per se, is actually going to move them in our direction. He's actually going to aid in affecting the Gen Z generation to move towards our understanding of sexual dynamics, sexual relationships, and masculinity. Now, it may not be in regards to sexual promiscuity because he advocates for that, but again, that's where then our morality comes in and gives a foundation and a structure for why all these things are in place the way that they are. So that's what, as we listen today and we listen to his content, keep that in mind. That Andrew Tate is the sort of newest representation of this pendulum. Of the pendulum. That's what I argue. It is the Overton window. And as we listen to the stuff he says, and it's going to be vulgar, and it's going to be, again, a lot of profanity, yet if a young man was listening to that and he was already feminized, or he's already left of center, or he's already adopted some of this progressive stuff, which way is it going to move him? And I would argue almost inevitably all the stuff, most of the stuff he states is actually going to move kids in our direction. That maybe after they listen to his stuff and go down his rabbit hole, maybe in a year from now, they're like, geez, well, just like we did with Jordan Peterson, the same thing we did with Jordan Peterson, and now we got to orthodoxy. In a way, Andrew Tate's doing the same thing. And ironically, through God's providence, technically, they are orthodox. It's the strangest thing. Now, again, not that what they say is orthodox per se. But this is clearly going to help awaken young men, and most likely awaken young women too, because they're going to have to listen to him. And then if the young men who listen to him, as I said last time with the thirst traps, say no to women, we can then realign the structures of society and male-female relationships. This only makes orthodoxy more appealing as the political cultural war widens, I would argue, because of these traditional understandings of masculinity, and I would say all male empowerment actually comes back to elevate our worldview, essentially. Because I would argue, obviously, that Christianity is the ultimate representation of the foul logocentrism, which is the pillar, which is the man, right? Andrew calls himself the top G. I would say the top G is the man who embodies the foul logocentrism. And so, this, as I said, is only going to aid in the culture war. It's going to aid for young men and women. But also, eventually, I think the pendulum is probably going to pass Andrew Tate. This is a period. This is a brief snippet. This is a period in time, and you're going to see his role in on these social media. I think it's going to explode. I think it's going to get much bigger, and so it's something to keep aware of. And so I wanted to talk about this manosphere stuff before. I wanted to talk about the male empowerment stuff. And so today's topic with Andrew Tate is the perfect blend of all this stuff. It's a mixture of the manosphere. It's a mixture of Andrew Tate. It's a mixture of then the Overton window. So again, as we're Orthodox and we're following Christ, we cannot be pulled emotionally by the world. And that includes, Jack Murphy was part of the Manosphere. And that's another thing with the Manosphere, guys, is so many of these guys have been shown to be frauds. Like Jack Murphy, I don't know if you guys know who that is. Jack Murphy was one of these masculinity coaches, too, in the Manosphere. What happened to him? Well, it turned out he was a cuck, so he was in a relationship with, I think it's his wife now, where he wrote an article bragging about how he enjoyed allowing her to go on a Tinder date and have sex with some dude and then come back, and he talked about like peeing on her to like mark his territory and have sex with her again. And then all these videos came out where he was doing porn before he was a masculinity instructor, where he was basically being sodomized by toys, and he was filming this and putting this on the internet with the girlfriend or the wife. And this happened with another guy too. There was another guy, and actually this guy went after Andrew Tate. I forget what his name was. He had like a Twitter following. He went after Andrew Tate and said, "Oh, I'll fight you. I'll do it." So Andrew, again, having the resource, he has the money, the time, the resources, started to do a deep dive on this guy and found out that he was getting paid to masturbate on webcams for gay men. Now, this guy claimed he wasn't gay, and at the same time, he had a large Twitter following and getting people to pay him to teach them about masculinity, where then Andrew Tate discovered and then showed the whole world that this guy was actually masturbating for gay men on webcams. So that's part of the manosphere as well. There's a lot of grifters. There's a lot of fakers. And is Andrew Tate a faker? I think that's maybe part of it. Is maybe he's not, right? Maybe he's certainly abrasive. Maybe he's, very coarse in the way that he speaks. Maybe he's certainly not for everybody. He's certainly not the best representation of a Christian man. That's for sure. But yeah, he's also done some good things in exposing some of these fake male influencers or male empowerment teachers. We need more of that, because these grifters got to go. But whether Andrew Tate is a grifter per se, it doesn't seem like it is, and I think that's maybe why. And it's ironic too. Like, look at Andrew Tate's right. Look at Andrew and Tristan Tate. Now they're advocating for young men to not watch pornography, stop masturbating, stop engaging with promiscuous women. At the same time, they made their millions through webcams with girls talking to young men. Again, this is the irony of the whole situation: is that now the most prominent masculinity influencer, I guess that's what you would call Andrew Tate, actually made money off the people he's criticizing to not be. So is that ironic justice in the sense that he sort of gained a prominence, extracting wealth from the people who would pay a girl to chat with her online? It's ironic either way. It's certainly ironic one way or another. Yeah, COTEL bro was the guy who was masturbating for gay men. Yeah, pretty gay stuff there. So Yeah, that's what I want us to keep in mind, is not be polarized by any singular statement. He said this or he said that. Keep in mind of how this is working on a sociological, cultural level. This is a shifting of the Overton window to the right that is going to be beneficial to us as Orthodox. Like, I wouldn't even be surprised that Andrew Tate and this Andrew Tate phenomenon is actually in a year from now going to provide Jay Dyer and myself with more followers, because it's going to offer more men to look deeper into traditionality and traditional structures of masculinity and why do we do certain things and where do our values come from? Because at some point there's a contradiction in the teaching, because it doesn't all come from evolutionary Darwinian theory. First of all, we know macroevolution is certainly dubious at best, but speciation, that's a whole nother thing. And we would agree with speciation, and we would agree with the adapting to environments and stuff like that. But in regards to objective truth, evolutionary theory doesn't provide the existence of evolutionary truth. Now, again, they're Orthodox Christians, so they certainly do believe in objective truth, and that's part of what they try to advocate. So anyways, guys, that's enough for the opening. Smash that like. We are going to dive into a bunch of his stuff here in just a moment. And so you'll be able to make your own opinion and hear what's going on, because he is upsetting all the right people. That is for sure. So guys, smash that like if you could. And if you would like to support tonight's stream, please super chat using the Streamlabs link. I'd greatly appreciate that. That's the best way to send in support. Unless you prefer to use YouTube, that is fine as well. It's just YouTube takes 30%. Also, if you'd like to support my work in Church of the Eternal Logos, please become a website member. I have exclusive members content for $5 a month, and I also have a $25 premium membership, in which allows you to join exclusive meetings twice a month with other premium members through Zoom. If that's something you'd be interested in, please sign up there. Also, if anybody would like to set up a one-on-one session, you can do so with this link right here. And don't forget, guys, we got sponsored options for streams now. And I have one lined up on Hebrew roots, which I will do. I don't know if I'm going to do it this week because I got a short week. Friday morning, I'm heading down to Nashville. Shout out to Jay Dyer and everybody going to the Jay Dyer book club event and his performance there in Nashville. I'll be there Friday night, Saturday night, Sunday night. So if you guys are going to Nashville, I will see you there. And that's going to be a lot of fun. But if you have another topic you would like for me to dive into, please sign up right here with the COTEL Premium sponsorship, and you can tell me a topic, and you're basically purchasing my time, and I will dive in and do the research for the topic of your desire. So just wanted to give a shout out to all those things and let you all know, again, I'm going to be there in Nashville, so I hope to see everybody. Okay, now let's get into today's topic. So, first thing I want to do, let me pull up. Okay, so let's see here. Okay, so obviously here's the Overton window. You guys get what the Overton window is. I don't need to go over this. The Overton window is a range of policies politically acceptable to the mainstream population at a given time. It is also known as the window of discourse. And so this is essential in regards to the normalization of different ideas, like the multiplicity of genders, for example. The Overton window has moved to the point to now include men get pregnant. No, they don't. And so shifting the Overton window in the opposite direction is essential to sort of retaking culture and all this different stuff. So that's what I wanted to let you guys know if you weren't aware. And here is the Manosphere. And the Manosphere has really the left hates the quote unquote Manosphere. And again, there's some grifters in there for sure. So I'm not here to promote the Manosphere. I'm here to bring awareness and to promote the general concept of male empowerment. We need more male empowerment. I try to do that here on this channel. Bring some male empowerment. We need to empower men. And so according to Wikipedia, The Manosphere is a collection of websites, blogs, and online forums promoting to varying degrees masculinity, misogyny, and opposition to feminism. So opposition to feminism is now basically a hate. It's a stance of hatred. So according to our rulers, which we already knew, you're not allowed to not be supportive of feminism. It's a no-no. Can't be in opposition to it. So communities within the Manosphere include men's rights activists, incels, men going their own way, pickup artists, and fathers' rights groups. The Manosphere overlaps with the far-right and alt-right communities and also been associated with online harassment and has been implicated in radicalizing men into misogynist beliefs and the glorification of violence against women. Some sources have associated Manosphere-based radicalization with mass shootings motivated by misogyny. And so that's totally an over-exaggeration. The Manosphere has not contributed to mass shootings. The Manosphere is telling men to not be with promiscuous women, take more responsibility, lift more weights, make more money, be more masculine, be more, take a little bit more pride in your work and your effort. Those aren't leading to mass shootings. Well, I would argue mass shootings are actually the consequences of what they want, which is, of course, consistent with our paradigm. That is what they want. But yeah, so if you go into the Manosphere and look at what they talk, it's horrendous. The Manosphere is not advocated by the left for sure. Now, there is this one clip right here that I think would be useful for us to watch that I'm going to play. And this is on so actually, I mean, I just told you how he made his money. So here is, we'll just play like a clip of it. Because we got other videos. I want you to hear more about what he has to say, not about what somebody else has to say about him. And so, 1 second. Look. So actually, why don't we start then with an Andrew Tate special? So here's a compilation of 15 minutes on Andrew Tate's advice for men compilation. And so here, look right here. You see somebody in Andrew Tate universe. It's already got 32,000 subs. He's already got more subs than I do. So you go to this channel, look. You'll see, when was it created? About February of 2022. February of this year, this guy's channel already has more subscribers than mine. And what does he do? He takes clips of Andrew and Tristan Tate, and he makes videos of. Look, 33 seconds, 144, 2 minutes, 126. And then look how they grow. Look how they grow. And so then you go to these videos, and you see what you have right here is this link. And so you click that link, and the guy who makes this channel gets a cut for you joining the Hustlers University. That's part of this whole process of how he's taking over the internet, is all these people who are joining his Hustlers Universities then are popping out and pushing out all the clips of his content, which is saturated. I mean, he's taken over TikTok, and his goal is to take over Twitch next. So anyways, now we're going to listen. And guys, lots of profanity here. So if you don't like profanity, you've been warned, all right? You've been warned. Lots of profanity is coming. Turn off the stream if you don't like those types of words. I understood. I understand why you wouldn't, but it's coming. So you're getting ready to hear some Andrew Tate. We're going to play 15 minutes. This is just a compilation of his advice for men. And so think about, again, the Overton window, and think about orthodoxy and so traditional masculinity. So here we go.
Your mind. You're obsessed with how you feel. You don't care about anything outside of yourself, and you're an exceptionally selfish person. That's all they're trying to do, is convince you and teach you to be extremely selfish. Let me tell you something.
True, right? We've talked about worshiping ourselves. True.
Depression is not real. Feeling depressed is real. So you can feel depressed, but you feel depressed, and that is a natural biological evolutionary trigger for you to change something in your life. That's your own mind telling you you're unhappy about X. If I went to jail today, I'd be depressed because I'm in jail. Right. I haven't caught depression. I don't have a disease. I'm just upset with my situation. Yep. I have people mess with me all the time. I'm fat and I can't get a girlfriend because I'm depressed. I'm like, no, pancake lover. You're depressed because you're fat and you can't get a girlfriend. Do you understand?
Yeah.
No matter what the worst thing that could possibly happen to me on earth, I will feel sad, but I will recover and I will not become depressed because I don't believe in depression. If you're in an old haunted house, right? You have two people in two haunted houses. One believes in ghosts and one doesn't. You hear some noise in the night. The wind blows, right? The man who believes in ghosts is like, oh no, a ghost. Now he's scared, right? He wants an exorcist. He can't sleep. He's scared about ghosts. He's paranoid. The guy who doesn't believe in ghosts goes wind, whatever, and goes back to sleep. Do you understand that it's the belief that gives it power?
Right.
If you don't believe in ghosts, the ghost can't hurt you. If you don't believe in depression, you can't become depressed. And I refuse to believe in something that's going to weaken me. Why would I believe in something that's going to weaken my ability to deal with problems in life? Why would I do that? I'm temporarily immortal. Do you understand? Do you understand? Yeah. I'm temporarily immortal. And I'm not going to waste my living years believing in things which take power from me. Because I'm not an idiot.
Real men cry, and if women can cry, men can cry too. There's nothing wrong with it. And there absolutely is something wrong with it, and I'll explain to you why. Life as a man is far more difficult than life as a woman. And one of the key components of manhood always has been and always will be, we have the ability to control ourselves and not act emotionally. Females are more emotionally driven, more emotionally impulsive than a good man should be. Saying that I felt like crying so I cried, this makes me a real man, is as stupid as me saying, well, I felt like smashing his face in, so I smashed his face in. This makes me a real man. No, the hallmark of a real man is controlling himself, controlling his emotions, and acting appropriately regardless of how he feels. And throughout human history, this is exactly how men had to live their lives. Do you think that the teenagers storming the beaches of Normandy felt like crying? Of course they did. But they also knew that that wasn't the correct thing for them to do. They had a duty to commit to, they had honor, and they did what they were supposed to do regardless of how they felt. That is the mark of a man. Weakness and absolute submission to your feelings are not the hallmarks of men. It's not the way society has ever been built. It's never been built off the backs of men who were crying their eyes out because they felt like crying. The only kind of men who advocate crying are the kind of men who do not have enough self-control to prevent themselves from crying. Because we're all human. There's times in your life, as a man, you're going to feel like crying. It's going to happen. But what you're supposed to do is not cry. Because this is a test in mental fortitude. And there is no physical fortitude, there's no financial fortitude, there's no other type of fortitude without mental fortitude. So when you feel like crying, you ensure you do not cry. And you act appropriately as a man should. The men who say no, succumb instantly to your emotions, are the kind of people who have no self-control. And let me tell you something about men who have no self-control. Men who live without self-control are the kind of men who cry when their girlfriend cheats on them, because she certainly does, because she doesn't respect the little crybaby, and she's only with you because she's ugly as fuck and she has to settle for a little soy boy pussy like you. And these guys sitting there, what they're trying to do by telling you to cry is drag you down to their level. They look at people like me, and I say, Ross, that's a big G. He's out there, he's fucking women, he's got his Lambo, he's a multimillionaire, self-made, 6'4", 4 times kickboxing world champion, chess genius. I don't like the way he's living his life because he's kicking too much ass. You need to cry more. He's trying to drag me down to his level so I can be a little crybaby like him. And he wants everyone else who reads his tweets to be a crybaby too, because the more little weaklings he can create, the less bad he'll feel about himself. No man wants to be a little crybaby if they're honest with themselves, and no woman certainly wants to fuck a little crybaby. So don't listen to the advice of people who are living lives you wouldn't want to live. What's actually interesting is, I always use this analogy, if you could build yourself from the ground up.
Yeah, 253 Monty says, not going to lie, he's funny. I agree. I think Andrew Tate is hilarious. I think the way that he speaks, I know, again, he rubs people the wrong way. And obviously, I don't agree with everything he says, but yes, and I do agree. Yes, we have tears of repentance, but I don't think repentance is what Andrew's talking about. He's talking about guys who can't control their emotions and cry. Cry from pain, cry from stress, cry in different circumstances. So, Patrice O'Neill was 1,000. Rambling Rammies, dude, he's not a stand-up comedian. Again, that's a category error.
You could literally just, like from a video game, just tick characteristic boxes and build yourself. Nobody would choose to be a liberal soy boy. Nobody would choose to be a small, weak guy who has to cry when he gets upset. Everyone, when they get that application form from God saying build yourself for your next life, would tick. Tall, strong, smart, mentally tough, doesn't cry, gets pussy, rich. They tick all the things they tell me I'm bad, all the assets I have, everything that I am, they tell me is bad. But if they had the choice to have these things instantly, they would sign up. And the reason they don't have these things is because all of these things come with hard work. To be physically strong, you have to work out. That's difficult. To be financially independent, you have to be smart. That's difficult. So they don't have these things because they're hard for them to acquire, but they're very easy for them to acquire. They'd have them all. Nobody wants to be a crybaby. The mark of being a real man is not being a crybaby. The mark of a real man is walking down the street, 5 guys with knives coming up to try and rape your girlfriend, and you look at them in the face and saying, fuck you. It's not crumbling into a ball, crying your eyes out and say, I have emotions too. That just makes you a bitch. Guys come to me and they go, well, how should I act? Like when I've got guys who I train, they go, how should I act? And I say, why are you acting? You're like, you have to act a certain way when a woman disrespects you. If a woman disrespects me, I haven't got to act shit because I'm pissed off for real. I'll never talk to her again for real. Like, there's no act. Like, when you talk to me like I'm a dickhead, fine, I'll never reply to you again. And then she'll lose her mind because she's never had a guy ignore her. You know, but to me, it's not an act. They're coming along. What do I do here? What do I do there? You need to become the kind of person who doesn't take disrespect from females. Why are you going to take disrespect from people? Why are you going to have a woman live in your house? And if someone breaks into the house, you have to go downstairs and face an attacker who could have a fucking machine gun. You have to go down there as a man to protect her. But when you ask her for a cup of coffee, she's going to give you attitude. And you're going to accept that shit. You're going to sit there and go, oh, well, you know, she's had a long day. I don't give a fuck how long your day is. I asked for coffee. I paid for this house. I'll risk my life to keep you alive. If you don't want to make me a cup of coffee, that's perfectly fine. Pack a fucking bag. Get out. I've had that exact situation happen to me, and girls go to me, you're fucking crazy. You're crazy. I'm like, bitch, get the fuck out. You're crazy. You're the most crazy. And they'll leave, and then they'll be texting me for fucking months. The crazy man. Then they want the crazy man back.
Or they want the crazy back, yeah.
I'll make the coffee. I'll make the coffee. I'm sorry. I just didn't like the way you said it, your tone. Bitch, I talk to you in any tone I fucking want. It's my house. And that's not an act. It's not about being an act. It's just who I am as a person. I'm not a mean person. I'm a nice guy. But there's boundaries and limits, and I have my view of the world, and you comply to my view of the world, or you get replaced.
Do you ever have to apologize, make amends to women for things you've done or said?
No, because I will never apologize because I don't make mistakes. Everything I do is conscious. So even if I do something you don't like.
How do you know that? How do you know that everything you do is conscious?
Because I know exactly what I'm doing.
How do you know that?
Okay, give me an example. Okay, so when I say that,
how can you know that? How can any of us know that we're perfectly conscious?
There's no way I've done anything in a relationship and was like, oops, shouldn't have done that, ever. Yes, I did it. Yes, I knew I was going to do it. Yes, that was my intention. Yes, I did it. I'm sorry it's hurt your feelings, but I did it because I wanted to do it, so I'm not going to pretend I didn't want to do it. And I really do think that in relationships especially with women, because I get this all the time from men, because I have a whole bunch of guys who cannot believe, like me and my long-term girlfriends, and they see me posting all these other girls. They're like, surely your girl's sleeping with other men too. I'm like, no. Oh, but she sees you cheat. I'm like, so? But because there's a whole level of cowardice to lying about things. I think that's what annoys women the most. So I'll give an example. If I have a girlfriend and I go out on a night out and I fuck someone, and then she catches me, or finds a text message, and I'm like, oh, I don't know who she is. Oh, no, it wasn't me. It was my friend. I lie, and then she catches me again, and she knows I definitely did it. Now I've just come across the pussy. But if she goes, what's this? Got drunk, fucked some girl, don't remember her name. I'm really sorry about it. If you want to leave, leave. But obviously I love you. She doesn't matter, so it's up to you. Boom. Like, there's a whole degree of, I really believe part of them respects you for that. The part of them are like, at least you didn't lie. Like, they respect how honest and brutal you are about it. So I don't apologize for anything, even if I do shit they don't like, because I did it on purpose. So why am I'm not sorry. So I'm not going to lie. So I know I did it. I genuinely believe I'm a good person. Yeah. I don't rob grandmas. I don't steal from nobody. I don't hurt nobody. I genuinely believe I'm a good person. And the world has become so skewed now. If you're a man who believes in himself and has honor and stands up for what he believes in, you're viewed as bad. People think I'm a bad person. I don't really know why. I believe in what I believe in. I live to my own principles. I don't really hurt nobody. But somehow I'm evil.
Is it painful that people don't see that about you, that you're a good man?
No.
Doesn't bother you?
No, it genuinely doesn't bother me. So a lot of people say they don't care what other people think, and that's a lie. Everyone cares what other people think. Because if you didn't, you wouldn't brush your hair.
You wouldn't wear clothes. You would nothing. Like if you really didn't care what other people think, your whole life would be a fucking mess. So we all want to have some kind of social standing. I want, and I've always wanted people to see me as successful and intelligent. And I have now reached a point where those two things are impossible to deny. If you anything else you think about beyond those things, I don't care. Oh yeah, he's smart and he's rich, but as soon as you say but, I don't give a fuck. I've done my job. Most niceness is complete garbage anyway. It's fake. Most nice people are fake. If you show me a nice person, I see a snake. If I meet a person who's nice to everyone, oh hi, oh hi, oh hi. I don't, you know they're full of shit. They don't like everybody. Nobody likes everybody. You know, so there's a degree of integrity and honesty that comes with me being dislikable. And that means the people who do like me at least sit there and go, you know what, Tate, like Trump, says what he means what he says. So I don't want to be viewed as nice because that's a whole bunch of garbage anyway. So I don't give a fuck if you don't think I'm nice. I know I'm a good person. I know I don't go out of my way to harm anyone.
So obviously, in regards to like where the objective moral structures come from that he claims that he's a good person, you know, very contradictory because the structures which he equates, you know, not causing violence to other people, all this different stuff. Obviously, it's very akin to Christian morality, of which then's violated through some of his sexual promotions of, you know, sleeping with other women when you have girlfriends, all this type of stuff. But hey, that's his thing. And these girls, it's not like he lies to them. All the girls that are with this guy know what they're getting into. So it's sort of on them. But, you know, here's some stuff that I want to show you guys more recently is, again, he's been all over the last month or so. He's been all over the internet. He was just on the, you know, Dave Portnoy and Barstool Sports is probably, you know, they now rival ESPN in regards to like sports content. So Barstool Sports, founded by this guy right here, Dave Portnoy, they dominate right now. And his podcast, whatever Portnoy has, I forget who it's with or whatnot. They had Andrew Tate on, and this is where you just got exposed to some of Andrew Tate's ideas. Yes, incredibly arrogant, absolutely, and he promotes the arrogance. You know, that's part of his brand, but he's now entered the mainstream, and what I mean by the mainstream is the Aiden Ross stream he did last week with Twitch, the Barstool Sports podcast he did last week. These are entering, and go look at them. They already have millions of views already, and these are affecting young people that are not orthodox, people that are not into traditional religion or masculinity or anything like that. This is affecting young Gen Zers. And so here is a snippet of Andrew Tate on the podcast with Dave Portnoy and a couple of the employees from Barstool Sports. And so check this out. And this is how he's like entering into, again, the mainstream or whatnot. Because everybody's wanting to have him on their podcast because all the podcasts are getting millions of views.
Woman, I love women. In fact, interesting statistic, 100% of the people I've ever had sex with were women. So I love women. I have nothing against women at all. I'm not sexist in any regard. I'm not misogynist either. I'm a realist. Like, I'm a realistic person. As a realist.
Those are girls washing his Bugatti.
In the modern world, they're going to call you sexist, misogynist, etc. But I'm none of those things. I am just.
Why do they call you that?
Because I say the truth.
Which is?
Women can't fight. Men are stronger. Like, based more true things. I think another thing I said, and maybe I'll upset the ladies on the podcast. I said, if I were to get on a plane and that plane was to fly into the eye of a hurricane, there was a 50% chance of it crashing. I'd want a male pilot because I think that males are better under stress and under pressure. I think they're less likely to get emotional in a life or death situation. That's why they make better soldiers. That doesn't mean that doesn't make me misogynist. That doesn't make me sexist. That's just true. Women are better at other things than men. And I'll sit here and say women are better at X, but I will say that men are better at Y. I'm not going to sit and pretend that we're all the same. We're not. Under pressure, when your life is on the line, anyone who's honest would want a male pilot in said situation. You would not want a female pilot.
So I disagree with that. I think that's a person by person.
And so you're getting ready to see Dave Portnoy and the Barstool Sport. Again, very blue-pilled, politically correct, all this different stuff. And this is where Andrew Tate, again, as you guys said, obnoxious, arrogant, braggadocious, superficial. All those things are true. All those things are true. But they wouldn't affect Andrew Tate because he is he's very conscientious of that and is making a choice to be those things. It's part of the exaggerated character of who he's playing. But in this conversation, you'll see how blue-pilled the norm, again, the baseline normative opinion. I think some of us Orthodox, we kind of get lost because we're so red-pilled on almost all situations, the chemicals in our products, the food, all this different stuff, that we're very red-pilled. We forget that the normative baseline position is basically everybody on this podcast.
Person, but I agree with men are stronger than women. I don't think anyone can argue that.
If you're telling me if you were to fly into a hurricane and you had the choice between a male pilot and a female pilot, you wouldn't have zero preference at all, Dave.
Not knowing anything about either of them, they're both pro pilots. No, I wouldn't. We're not talking about dunking a basketball.
Well, I would choose a man because I know from my own personal experiences that when shit hits the fan and emotions are high and it's life or death, that the man is more likely to remain calm. And calm is what's going to keep me alive. So I would choose the man. For the same reason, I would choose women to do other things. Let me give you another example then, Dave. If gender roles aren't real and you're now...
No, I think there are gender roles are real. That particular example, though, I'm sure you can have great female pilots.
I never said you couldn't. I said I'd choose a man in that particular situation.
I don't
say a lot of stuff about women like that they're your property.
That's not what I said. I was talking about an OnlyFans company when that question was asked. But I said that if a woman is going out with a man, she belongs to that man. That's his woman. So if she wants to do OnlyFans, she owes him some money because she's his. Yes, that's what I said.
Well, that's crazy.
You think if a
that
man,
was crazy.
So you think that a man going out with a girl that's just your property? There can't be an equal relationship?
No, that one was nuts. Okay, that one was nuts.
This is where it goes crazy.
Cool. That one you can't.
And that's Michaela Peterson. So for some of you guys that don't know, in 2020, right when Jordan Peterson got taken to Russia for his benzo addiction, Michaela took a little bit of a trip over to Romania to spend a weekend with Andrew Tate, and then that caused a huge rumors to spread that while she was, had a baby and was technically married with the baby's daddy, that she went and had a weekend with Andrew Tate. Who knows? But that's what that photo right there is about.
If I understood what you said, that if a guy and a girl is dating and a girl does OnlyFans, she owes him a cut?
No, 100%.
His girl.
100%.
He is his girl.
But what does that have to do with anything?
Because she's his.
Yeah, so that's...
So that is you saying that women are your property.
It's not about being property. It's about the fact that she belongs to him and the intimate parts of her body belong to him because they're in a relationship. And if she wants to sell those, he has a stake in those intimate parts of her body.
So it's reverse. Male porn star owes the woman.
I don't know, because I think the women belong to the man. I think the woman's given over.
That's inherently where you get called sexist.
No, it's not. Well, you can call me sexist if you want, but if you look at marriage, it's the bride's father who gives her away. It's not the groom's father.
It's old tradition.
I gotta guess.
The woman belongs to the man.
So it's slavery.
Yeah, no, but I got to guess as somebody who's multicultural and everything, that certainly is a tradition that does not apply everywhere.
The woman is always given over to the man. Read the Bible, read the Quran. I'm not saying they're a property. I'm saying they're given to the man and they belong to the man. It doesn't mean they're a pure property without emotion. It means they're given to the man. They take the man's name.
You said it's her parts. You said it's the guy's parts. You're like, if she's on OnlyFans, the guy owns those parts, so he gets a cut.
Well, those parts are intimate, right? That's the whole point of her being his.
Yeah, but you didn't do reverse. When I said if a male porn star does it, he doesn't owe the girl a cut.
Correct, because he doesn't belong to her. She still belongs to him.
Correct. So that's the sexist part.
But and you've also said that you could have multiple partners, but a female that was with you couldn't also have multiple partners.
Well, a woman could say that same thing if she decided. She could say, I can sleep with multiple men, but my men can't sleep with multiple women if she so choose. We're all free individuals, right?
Yeah, but you wouldn't agree if a woman said that.
I don't think I would personally find that revolting, correct? But there are women who find what I say revolting.
So you're not telling other people what to think. You're just saying how you think.
Yeah, I mean, if I think if a man is not sexually exclusive, it's not the same as if a woman is, because with a woman you have the paternity issue. With a man you don't have a paternity issue. If I have 3 girlfriends and they all get pregnant, we know who the mother and who the father is. If you have 1 woman and 3 men, you don't know who even the parents are if she got pregnant. So it's a whole big issue, right? Science can step in and kind of fix it.
Definitely,
but it's a good discussion.
DNA tests are pretty accessible nowadays.
Of course, yeah, that's exactly it. So I said science can step in and fix it, but that doesn't mean it's not haram and against the will of God. Look, read the Bible, and there was not a single woman who was celebrated for having multiple husbands. Female promiscuity has always been disgusting and frowned upon. In every single book ever written, ever, in all of history, in all cultures ever, women were supposed to be virgins. Women sleeping with lots and lots and lots of men has never been celebrated, ever. Besides, in the last 40 years in the West, in a degrading society. Well, yeah, okay, cool. But if you're going to look at it traditionally, women were not supposed to act that way. And I don't think women want to act that way anyway. I don't think women intrinsically want to follow a bunch of people.
I don't think you know what women want.
Well, the women I know don't want to. When I meet a woman, she doesn't say, I can't wait to get out there and sleep with a bunch of dudes. Maybe there are some. I don't know.
There's definitely like cleat chasers who fucking love that.
I don't know where getting this impression I hate women. I mean, we can purport that. We can attempt to label me with that all we want.
So again, we see it like massive contradictions in the guy's worldview. He talks about traditionality. He talks about again these traditional girls and traditional standards. Yet at the same time, yada yada. And the manosphere is very common in the manosphere to talk about how male exclusivity is not the same as female exclusivity, and historically that has been the case throughout history. Obviously, kings, emperors, they had concubines, multiple women. It's in the Old Testament, yada yada yada. As a Christian, and again, he's technically Orthodox, Romanian Orthodox. We don't engage in those activities, so that is certainly a violation of that moral code within the tradition that he is a part of. But yeah, so we see massive contradictions. He'll appeal to traditionality at other points. He'll appeal to, hedonism and sinful pleasures at another point, and so at the same time he's basically a pimp. So it's all over the place.
I absolutely not really love women. I have nothing against women. I believe women are the most precious things on the planet. They create life. They should be protected. They should be provided for. I would never let a woman pay for a bill. I would never let a woman, if someone touched any of my women, I would stand up against 10 men by myself and risk my life to protect her. I believe that women are beautiful creatures. I just don't think that they're as emotionally calm as men in stressful situations. I don't think they can fight like a man can. And for the same reason, I would never drop my children in an all-male nursery. I think that's strange and weird. I would only drop them in an all-female nursery. Women do certain things and men do certain things. And we live in a world now where the whole idea of the roles has been conflated to the fact where if I come along and say women are better with children and men are better at fighting, that I'm somehow fuck sexist when it's clearly true. There's nothing wrong with stating the facts. It's the truth.
You're mixing them up because I agree with some of what you're saying. Like,
yeah,
again,
but then you throw in the OnlyFans, you need 100%
correct
thing. Like that's
I don't think anybody
sexist.
here is arguing that like in a fist fight a man's going to win.
Okay.
Yeah.
What about intelligence? Do you think women are as smart as men?
Well, it's been proven that the smartest people in the world are men.
See, that's
And that's true. So what they get ready to go into is then the Barstool Sports. They're totally, oh my gosh, because he's talking about the bell curve, and then Tate didn't have he didn't have the background to kind of defend himself here. Is he says the smartest man and the smartest people in the world are often men. That is true. And that's because based on the bell curve, women occupy the center of the bell curve. So the extremes, the dumbest people in the world, the smartest people in the world are always men. Men occupy the extremes. Women occupy the center. It's like that in every culture. It's like that throughout history. And from my understanding, the most intelligent guy that is alive, it is a man, the most intelligent. But of course, the Barstool Sports then uses Google, and Google tells them the smartest person in the world is a woman.
That's been proven.
Some issues.
That's been proven. That's been proven.
How? What? Where?
So there's the bell curve, right? So men are more likely to be on the extremes. So the most stupid people on the planet are men, and the most intelligent.
Yeah, or the ortho bro said Andrew just wants a harem. I mean, basically he has it, and that's if he was Muslim, that would be condoned. Obviously he's Orthodox and in Romania, and I mean, Orthodoxy is more of just a label for him. It's more just a place to tithe to, but certainly is not promoting orthodoxy in any way whatsoever.
Women are more likely inside of the middle of the deviation. So this has all been proven, right? Men are more likely to extreme. Read the study. It's more likely men are out the extreme.
Study?
Google it.
What are you yelling?
I'm gonna Google it. What am I writing in? What am I writing in for a Google search?
Are men smarter than women?
Okay, this should be interesting in what comes up. Are men?
But I can also give you personal experience.
Anyways, we're gonna be done with that one. So we get it. We get the point here. And then here is a more recent stream. So we're gonna wrap this up, and we're gonna do some super chats here soon, guys. So if you like to, again, everybody watching, smash that like if you can. We're gonna dive into some super chats here. But here is Andrew Tate again arguing a feminist. Here is let's see, Andrew Tate. Aiden Ross. So Aiden Ross is the biggest stream on Twitch. And so look, so obviously millions of people on Twitch, but he already has 1.1 million views from a stream he did with Andrew Tate 2 days ago. This one is from 12 days ago. It's got 3.4 million views. And then all the clips he did have tons of views. Like here's a here's a clip right here, 861,000, 1.9 million. And so this all happened last week. And so now Andrew Tate, his prominence is radically, exponentially growing. And this is from the second time, I guess, he got on, he's going on the most popular Twitch streamers' streams. And on one of them, he was debating this pink-haired guy up in the top left. And so we're going to watch this. This is the guy on the top pink left is debating Andrew Tate. And this is just from last week. This is a very, very recent video. I mean, this was only put out July 22nd. So this was put out 2 days ago. And it already has over 360,000 views.
He is a victim because that's what you look like, my friend. And it's your own choice.
See, that's just it, though. The only reason they would choose you in that element is because of the patriarchal, male-dominated society.
Here we fucking go. Here we go.
All right. Here's the deal, Andrew.
This is fun. No. I'm not done.
Andrew, listen to me.
From history that wasn't patriarchal. Name a society from history that was not patriarchal.
See, listen to me, though. That is why people like yourself are bugging and going into hyper mode right now because society's changing. Society's changing.
I'll tell you why, my friend. I'll tell you why we cannot name a single society in history across the entire planet that was not patriarchal. Because patriarchal societies are optimized to survive. When things get difficult, when people are put in survival situations, we naturally revert to our gender roles. I'll tell you something. If we were all on a ship and the ship got shipwrecked, the men would start building and digging and hunting, and the women would start gathering and doing what women are naturally adept at. Because when it comes down to survival, you have to do what you are most competent at. And men are more competent at certain things, and females are more competent at certain things. I'm not saying
not all men. Not all men, and not all females.
My point is, patriarchal societies are more competitive than any other type of society because society functions better as a patriarchy. So the reason you cannot name a single society in history that was not a patriarchy is because all of the societies, and I'm sure there were some, which were not patriarchal, were destroyed by patriarchal societies. They were wiped off the face of the planet because they are not competitive.
There haven't been any yet.
Books to read. They do not have monuments to find. And the point I'm making is that in the harsh reality of ultra competitiveness, only patriarchal societies can survive. So the reason you cannot name one from history is because all the ones that tried this idea that you're trying to purport were destroyed in real time. And in the West, in America, as we stand right now in America, which I wouldn't even call it a patriarchal society because it isn't, because females have more rights under the law than men.
Oh my God, bro.
They do. And I'm telling you now,
so clueless.
As America falls apart and the patriarchy is disintegrated, all that's going to happen is that other countries like Russia, like China, like countries which are still patriarchal, will remain more competitive than the West. And you're not going to fix the world. America's just going to end up a third world shithole. So throwing the fucking patriarchy away is going to fix a fucking thing. You live in a clown world, my clown world.
Yeah, no, I don't. I mean, I do live in a clown world because there are people like you that are sitting there like pushing this inane philosophy. So yeah, I get it. I accept that. But first off, we haven't seen a non-patriarchal society yet. We're definitely moving toward it. And if you want to look at America and look at some of the problems with America, like what problems do we have? Well, there's an enormous wealth gap. You mentioned the Roman Empire earlier. The Roman Empire didn't fall because of laziness. It fell because of overconfidence, because of an income gap between the richest and the poor, and because of political corruption. All three things that are sort of happening in America right now. So absolutely, America could fall, but it's not because men were turning soft, right? The idea of men being soft, the idea of men being soft, Andrew, is a battle cry of men who see that purely physical stature is no longer the only defining quality. Because like you said, they could line me and you up, and all those brutes like the cops or somebody looking for pure strength would choose you to defend them. But anybody who was from a marginalized group that was looking for an emotional defender, those people would pick me, right? And they wouldn't pick the muscular guy because they know that I have the inner strength to actually have an openness and a vulnerability that can relate to them and that can help them find that empowerment in themselves. I don't want to train people to be cheap.
All
you know what I mean?
Like
we go to your Instagram page and you talk about being the Messiah and all this other BS. You want people to follow you like you're some sort of like deity, boss. And that's actually a sign of your own weakness at work, right? That's coming from your own trauma, your own unhealed trauma.
Firstly, the fact you think that you're talking to marginalized people more than me, it doesn't even make sense, because I'm talking to groups of people, you're talking to groups of people, and both of them includes marginalized communities. Secondly, the fact that I am actually mixed race, that I grew up in the south side of Chicago with my father.
Absolutely.
Shows I know more about marginalized communities than you do, because you are as white as they can come, and you're sitting there talking about to a marginalized person.
Absolutely. Absolutely. But let me ask you,
I never woke up and thought, I'm brown, so I had to find this white guy with pink hair to fight for me. I woke up and fought for myself. And that is the point. You don't want to fight for yourself. You fight for yourself when you're a man. That requires all forms of power, whether it be emotional, mental, and physical. You to sit here telling men they should be as weak as possible and sitting around doing nothing is not good for society as a whole. And there's nothing wrong with patriarchal society.
I am not advocating for weakness. Like, I'm advocating for people to heal and to heal their trauma and not use their trauma like you do and then aim it at select groups of people in order to gain power and money, right, and status, so you can walk around with a deity, right?
I think that all men, if you're a good man, you're going to have a traumatic life. That's part of being a man. And I think
it's not even a part of being a man. It's a part of being a human being on the planet. Okay. You're going to have a traumatic life, sure, right? But you got to heal the trauma. The trauma doesn't make you unless you heal it. If you don't heal it, you go around, say, dumping it on women. Right? By waltzing around talking about how you got to protect women. You got to get a cut of her OnlyFans and all this because you own her private parts. That's nonsense, bro. That's nonsense. That's your trauma speaking.
It depends how you heal the trauma, right? And when I said that being a trauma is part of being a good man, you said it's part of being a human. I agree. But I think you can be a very, very good woman with a good heart, and you can be a good person. You don't need a traumatic life to be a good woman. However, to be a good man, you need to have a traumatic life, because any man who's not had... I'll tell you why. Let me answer. Any man who's not had difficulty, any man who's not gone through something that's difficult is not very good at being a man, because when shit hits the fan, people turn to the nearest man in the room and say, what is the solution? Someone just broke in the house, you go to the man. A natural disaster, a hurricane, you go to the man. There's a war, you go to the men. So men who have not been through trauma are not very good at being men because they're not capable of dealing with trauma.
Wait, pause right there though, Andrew, because you said when you go to war, you go to the men. But the only reason you have a war is because of men and their lack of awareness about their own feelings. That's why war exists in the first place.
So you're saying
if you had more women leaders, we wouldn't even have war.
Okay, so
if we had more women leaders, we wouldn't even have war. Men literally are responsible for war by a lack of emotional awareness. That's how it starts.
Interesting. So let's make this the final point before we move on. You just said that if all the leaders were women, we wouldn't even have war.
I said if we had more women leaders, yes, there would be less war.
The fact that you hate your own gender so much is quite amazing to me. But actually,
I don't hate my own gender.
Another point.
See, why do you do
the point? Let me tell you why you're wrong.
No, you don't get to gaslight me and tell me I hate my own gender just because I'm displaying a version of manhood that you're uncomfortable looking at. You don't get to say I hate my gender.
I don't give a fuck.
I'm weak because I present a version of manhood that has struggled just like you, that has conquered just like you, but lives outside the idealized patriarchy that was sold to me. You don't get to gaslight me because you're uncomfortable with the type of man that I am.
You love men. You love men. Cool. The point I'm making is, you saying that the world wouldn't have a war.
You are backed up against the wall.
Wait. No, chill. Let Tate have his final statement, then we're going to wrap this up and get someone else.
I'm in here right now. I just got to fix my camera. One second.
Hassan, let's go, man. I appreciate you.
I'm interested in seeing what the chat thinks. The reason you're totally wrong saying that the world would have less war if there was no female leaders is because if you actually ask anybody who's been in the corporate world for long enough, the companies that have the most arguments, the most difficult corporate structures to deal with, in fact, even if you ask most women, they say, I don't like having a woman boss. I'd rather work for a man. When you have a whole bunch of women in charge, it's nothing but a fucking fest and it's a shit show. Every single person who's ever worked in corporate knows that. Every single person who's ever worked in the world knows that women actually, as beautiful as they are, and they're good at lots of different things, they would they would prefer to work for a male boss because it's a stronger, more clear leadership structure. Having a bunch of women in charge of countries is not going to make a peaceful world. And the fact you believe that shows your entire mental model's fucked.
Andrew, take care, brother. Hassan, I just want to say...
All right, we're going to jump off that one. Hassan is an absolute idiot. I can't even listen to that. So we're not going to dive into that. I guess we can watch one more clip before hopping off here and getting into the super chats. You guys basically have now got a feel for Cobra Tate and basically the way he approaches stuff, his mindset. I told you it was going to be offensive, lots of profanity. It's a mixture of all these different things. General paradigm is survival of the fittest, male dominance. And which, again, I don't disagree with the male dominance thing. I'm just not. I don't believe in macroevolution. Yeah. So here is, maybe you guys can let me know. I got a clip of Andrew Tate's TikTok compilation, and I also have one on his funniest moments. So I guess we can just go with which one has the most views, which is his funniest moments. So you guys tell me which one you want, funniest moments or TikTok compilation. We'll finish with that, and then we'll hop into some super chats. Guys, if you're still with me, smash that like, and make sure to send in a super chat. Show some appreciation with a super chat using the Streamlabs link, preferably. That's pinned at the top of the live chat. Or if you prefer to use YouTube, you can do so. Shout out to everybody over on The Rock. We got 7 live viewers over on Rockfin. Shout out to you guys. God bless y'all. Hope you're doing well. Let's see. It doesn't look like anybody has said what they prefer. I guess we'll go with this one. Funniest moments. Smashed. I didn't know if we can go with the TikTok compilation. Do you guys want the Sigma male? You want the Sigma male, or do you want the funny compilation? We'll do one more compilation of clips, and then we'll hop off here, and you guys can, at least now you'll know who Cobra Tate is, you'll know who Andrew Tate is, and you'll have a concept and a framework for the phenomenon of which he is and going to only grow. So Crispy said he's had enough, Tate. funniest moments. Play them. Aaron says play them both. We'll go with funniest moments first. If you guys want to play more, I guess we can. But yeah. So brace yourself, guys. You're probably going to get a lot of F-bombs here.
Grab, choke, shut up, bitch, sex. Little electric, my little plug. Ooh, let me get my little plug and plug it into my Tesla. Maybe I can get an erection one day. Is this the man you are?
Most things the left try and present, you have to keep things realistic. No.
Years ago, natural selection and evolution would have taken care of all your fucking retard ancestors, but yet here you are, standing in my face saying you don't eat gluten. Yes, you fucking do.
Only a cat-owning bitch would complain to the police about a fucking joke. Fine, you're upset you lost your cat. Fair enough, yeah, the joke may have been a little bit, risque. Who calls the police on a fucking joke? Cat owners. Cat owners are liberals. Cat owners believe in hate speech. Cat owners are Democrats. Cat owners are dickheads.
You look like a bitch. No, I'm not like these fucking mask wearers. No, I walk into hell and the devil's like, oh, I'm going to burn you. So you ain't going to do shit. I find myself super funny. I find myself super funny.
Imagine I'm in my fucking 6-liter V12 Aston Martin Vanquish. Gets about 10 miles to the gallon max. I'm sitting there. I'm chilling. There's a traffic jam. No big deal. Whatever. Big Daddy Tate, I can handle it. Someone goes, there's a climate change activist and they blocked the road. What? There's climate change activism, Extinction Rebellion. Yeah, I'll show you an extinction. You're a fat
ugly sack of shit.
Go to a poor country, no one's depressed. If they have food and their family members are alive, they're all laughing and dancing. Africans ain't even got roofs on their houses. Every time you fucking look at a documentary, they non-stop dancing around. I ain't dancing around like that ever. I'm never that happy. What the fuck are you happy about?
I mean, if you're a really good friend, no, not even if you're a friend. If you're my friend, you just can't be a pussy. Well, I had a heart attack. Get the fuck up. And the most annoying thing about this fat cunt is that when he's DJ, he MCs. And when he MCs, all he says over and over again is, "Oh my God!"
Okay, bodybuilding is a beauty pageant where dudes try their best to put on muscle so other dudes can say, "You're the best looking dude." It's gay. It's super gay. I said, tell him it's gay all the time. It's not gay, it's hard work, dedication, blah, blah, blah.
Some of history's greatest and most influential men have been cigar smokers. Sir Winston Churchill, Jack Nicholson, and of course, Hannibal Smith from the A-Team.
Long, cold, lonely night. She's saying, I don't care if you're a rocket scientist. I don't care if you're a businessman. I don't care how successful you are. I don't care about nothing. I need dick. Because if I'm kept warm, dicked right, on a long, cold, lonely night, any night. Basically, I'm a hoe, I need dick, that's all I'm interested in.
Planet is this? They're on the radio back and forth, back and forth. And I heard the little one, the little hijabi one, say, oh, maybe we need a male officer. Basically saying, we can't arrest this dude. So these two little women who can't arrest me, but threatening to, can't chase anyone, but telling me I have to fucking sit still. So I said, okay, I agree. This is my public declaration. I got my phone out and start recording. I wish I still had this fucking video. This is my declaration. I agree. I will not chase the car. I'm saying now I'm free to go. I'm not a criminal. I'm free to go. I will not chase the car. And they were like, they knew I was lying. They were like, he's going to go chase the car.
Are we gamblers?
Where's your mask?
What do you mean mask?
Mask.
What do you mean mask?
No, it just tastes really good. Like it's mint.
Let me tell you a secret, Luke.
Tastes like mint.
I'll kick the motherfucking fuck out of you.
I know you said money isn't real, but I am getting fucked.
What pisses me off most, you thick fucks. Beer break.
The garden.
Exactly.
And that was the only time today that people have been talking behind each other's backs. This guy's a liar.
That was the only time.
Listen, bro, don't talk to me right now,
Let me just
okay?
say 5 words and I'll walk off if you want, yeah?
Why would you come in here and start like that, though? Why wouldn't you introduce yourself and then tell us tomorrow or something? Be respectful, because you come into here. You came into here and we called 8 of us snakes.
Yeah, of course.
You didn't even tell us your name. All you did was go, 8 of you are snakes.
Stood up. Just stood up really quick. And as I stood up, he shat himself and dropped his pen. I stood up and he went and dropped his pen. These are your masters. You mess with me, you're gonna learn something. Hey, yeah. Ain't ready for the big man slap. I got a big hand. I'll bust their jaw with the bottom of my hand, and the top of their head will feel the sting from the fingers, like the whole boom. Is A, things I'm happy to show, and B,
he doesn't do anything illegal. It's fine. Film anything, Dave. He told me it's fine. He told me it's okay. He said it's all right. So just follow us around. Get the camera out when you want.
I want to see every edit before it goes out.
Ooh, don't know if that's going to be. All right, if you agree that you can't make changes.
No, I want to see every edit before it goes out. I want to make it very, don't be taking the piss and just trying to make me look like a cunt. Because that's the last
Too easily done.
Is it cold in Romania?
Yes, Dave. It's cold in Romania.
Where they put that cling film around it. Why?
It's to prevent people from putting stuff in your suitcases or taking stuff out of your suitcases.
But who's going to put shit in your suitcase after you check it in?
It's people that work at the airport, they smuggle drugs by putting it in people's suitcases, and then a person at the other side will take out the suitcase.
I'm sorry, James. I do not believe that shit for a second. Never.
Freedom. They suck non-stop. Hi. Nice to meet you.
Fuck Australia. And secondly,
That's not nice.
Secondly, Chuck, I believe should be allowed to have weapons.
The army and the maybe police.
The army and the police.
The ones who aren't racist.
Okay.
I want you to listen to a song and every 11 to 12 seconds say, oh my God, over it. And after an hour, I guarantee you feel like murdering somebody. The French are weird. One dude, he must have been about 50, got naked, then go on the dance floor and just like start to dance. Just like, why? 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 Why would you do that?
Why would you get completely naked? If you want to dance, why would you get completely naked and just to go do your shit dancing?
They don't eat gluten. I need you to do something for me. We have to make sure that no one ever says it again. So what happens is you're standing there and they say, oh, I don't actually eat gluten.
Get in the cage, and I'll show you what toxic is. Your wife could watch from somewhere at the back. This is Romania. We got beautiful women around. There's going to be like hot chicks around. She has to be in a burqa or something.
Okay. All right, guys, that's going to do it. If you want to watch the TikTok compilation, let's see.
And that's why people are afraid of me. And you, loaded, stupid. Nothing. I have a bat cave. Okay, yeah. I have an Alfred. Okay.
Yeah. Anyways, we're gonna call it quits there, guys. I hope you've enjoyed tonight's stream. Again, we're talking about the Andrew Tate phenomenon and how he is taking social media by storm due to the use of his Hustlers University, a $50 a month membership program that he has through his website. And again, he's already a millionaire, and he's making millions of dollars through various entrepreneurial endeavors he has, Hustlers Universities, the War Room, all this different stuff. And he's allowing people to use his content, cut his content from every source that he's ever used, and every podcast, every interview, and then create content with it, and then they make more money. And so my general takeaway tonight was that Andrew Tate is a flamboyant, he's an arrogant, obnoxious person to a lot of people. He is obviously also successful, and he is very boisterous about his male empowerment narrative, which I also support. And it's that general male empowerment narrative and his sort of breakaway or prominence or sort of skyrocket out of the manosphere that shows that there is a real market for young men wanting to hear things like this because it's so out of left field. Most kids haven't even heard any of this stuff. So then this is contributing, what I argue, to the shift of the Overton window, that Andrew Tate, despite it certainly not being Orthodox, certainly not being Christian, and in the same way, his male empowerment rhetoric is actually moving people to the right of center. It's actually part of the Overton window shift. As I said, it's part of the larger pendulum swing of traditionality and all this different stuff. And again, he's no Jordan Peterson in his eloquence, but I would say to some degree he's probably right of center. I mean, he's right of Jordan Peterson. And so we had Trump in 16, we had Peterson in 17, 18, we had the 2020 pandemic, and now you have Andrew Tate out here using his millions of dollars to basically saturate social media in every form possible, get on all these different podcasts and promote his sort of male empowerment narrative, having multiple girlfriends, make money as much as possible, be as powerful as possible. And so to some degree, I agree, and I'm sure some of the stuff we heard tonight we agree with. Other stuff we couldn't disagree with more, but I like to look at this whole phenomenon, and again, him using his millions of dollars to sort of proliferate and saturate the internet, that in a way, I bet it probably brings more people to this part of the internet, to sort of right of center, traditional Christianity, all this, just like Jordan Peterson was a bridge for a lot of us into Jonathan Pageau and then eventually into Orthodoxy. I would say Andrew Tate, for some young guys, may be a sort of opening into masculine culture, the manosphere, all this hyper-masculinity stuff, content, which may eventually bring them into traditional Christianity. Where does the moral structures, where does objective structures, objective truth, objective order, all this stuff come from? What comes from the Logos? And so I hope that maybe the sort of rocket ship of Andrew Tate, I'll get a little bit of that ripple effect. And so young guys that find this stuff, maybe eventually they'll be here to learn more about Christ and how I understand traditional masculinity cannot be separated from God because, the sexual hedonism and different things that he promotes. At the same time, he promotes the man that goes through traumatic situations and survives and is successful. And at the same time, He promotes, multiple women, in ways, lives of, pure consumption and the purchasing of things. But hey, it is what it is. It's both good and bad, but this is certainly a phenomenon. And now that you guys have seen this, you are going to see his stature, his prominence on social media. It's only going to rise. It's only going to rise. And next week he's doing the podcast with the Nelk Boys, and so that's only going to have even more millions of views. It's going to become more controversial. He's going to upset more of the wrong people, and it's exactly what he wants. The controversy sells. The controversy what accelerates and exacerbates and grows his following and grows his memberships. Because I think what he said is he has 30,000 people paying $50 a month. 30,000 people. Do you know how much money that is a month? According to Andrew Tate, he has 30,000 people in Hustlers University. That would be over $1 million a month just in his memberships. Just in his memberships. That is crazy. That is absolutely crazy. I totally agree with Del Bridge. He says, without the proper worldview, Andrew Tate's will just lead men into being the Conan the Barbarian without the muscle mass. Yeah, exactly. And that's Del Bridge. That is insightful. He does. I should have almost framed it that way. The Conan the Barbarian. That's exactly it, because that's his way, his old world thinking, the patriarchal thinking. It really is. It's almost more pagan, Conan the Barbarian, and lacks some of the sophistication of what Christianity was building on and orthodoxy and really developing there. So, David Atkinson said, "Hey, Church of the Eternal Logos, you'll get the viewers here quicker if you'd give a few more streams from your Ferrari." Yeah, guys, I need more super chats to get a Ferrari. That is for sure. There's no way that I can afford that. But anybody who wants to help and throw in a super chat, I'd greatly appreciate that. So anyway, shout out to everybody. God bless you all for staying here and sticking with me through today's stream. I know again it was profanity laced, a lot of vulgarities, but obviously this was a popular topic. Obviously you guys are going to see him everywhere. And so now you're going to have a better concept. Now, again, I'm sure a lot of people aren't going to like it. He rubs a lot of people the wrong way, but at the same time, now you have a better context. And now when you see this phenomenon happening, because he's getting ready to enter into the mainstream, what we just saw, this Andrew Tate, he's entering into the mainstream media with the Dave Portnoys and the Aiden Rosses, and now he's going to be with the Nelk Boys this week. So I thought it was a topic worth covering. It was a topic worth covering, and I hope you guys enjoyed it. So now let's dive into some of these super chats. First super chat, actually Frankie D threw in a late super chat last week. And so I'm going to read his super chat. Shout out to Frankie D. Met him at Montanica. God bless you, brother. He threw 3 $5 super chats in last week regarding the Thirst Trap stream. And he said, missed the live stream, but the Thirst Trap was a really good video. I noticed the pattern when you describe the concept of the Thirst Trap. Satan does not go after the man directly, but instead goes after the weaker sex in order that he may tempt the man. Yes. To simp. This cycle then repeats itself because the woman then craves the attention of a male when she doesn't get it from her father, who is not masculine. She takes on the Jezebel role and repeats the cycle. Masculine men help break that cycle. I think this is why feminism was first in the order of destroying the culture. First Eve falls, then she tempts Adam to fall. I bet that the rise of feminism is directly proportionate with the growth of the simp. Only Christ can save us. Break the cycle. Well, shout out to Frankie D. Wasn't that a good comment, a good super chat? I had to read that. So shout out to Frankie D out there. God bless you, brother. It was a pleasure to meet you. And that, I couldn't agree more. What a wonderful super chat. Amen to that. First super chat tonight, though, actually came from the conqueror himself. Genghis Khan throws in $9.99. No comment. Thank you very much, Genghis Khan. Shout out to you, brother. God bless you. Next super chat comes from Nicodemus Smith. looks like he's from down in New Zealand. Gosh, dang, brother. Stay safe. Stay safe. Nicodemus Smith throws in $8.99 and said he's great at playing a character. His vitality makes sense because you don't know what he will say next, and so you get sucked in a bit. Or he said, I meant his virility, vitality. Well, they're kind of the same thing. But yeah, Nicodemus Smith. I think. I think Andrew Tate, whether you like him or not, he's kind of entertaining, right? And that's kind of what he's doing. He's playing a character. He's exaggerating characteristics about himself, and so yeah, it's certainly entertaining. He's filled with life. You never know what he's going to say. I disagree with, again, a considerable amount of what he says, but then he also says a considerable amount that I like, and then he makes all the people I don't like absolutely irritated, which I do like. So, there's a mixed bag there for sure. But yeah, thanks for the support, Nicodemus Smith. Again, he says he's great at playing a character. Clearly he is. It's an exaggerated character, no doubt about that. And his virility makes sense because you don't know what he will say next, and so you get sucked into it a bit. Yeah, shout out to Nicodemus Smith. Next one comes from Dr. Fauci. Dr. Fauci threw in $5 and said, "Jibby jab." I love it. Well, thank you very much, Dr. Fauci, for the $5 super chat to say that. I guess, again, you've heard it here, guys, on COTEL, that Dr. Fauci's a fan of the jibby jab. So, yeah, jibby jab. God bless you, Dr. Fauci, for the $5 super chat. Next one comes from MZ1994. Shout out to MZ1994. She throws in, if it is a her, I'm not sure. Maybe it's a brother. Throws in $3.45 and says, "Thanks for the work you do, brother. I think you're 100% correct about Andrew Tate. He pushes people further to the political right, and the more right-wing a person is, the more attractive orthodoxy becomes to them." Exactly. That's my general take, and that's how I see this thing slowly unfolding. And so I'm optimistic about it. Do I agree with everything he says? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. So yeah, I totally agree with you there. So I think that more people are going to become Orthodox potentially due to it, just by being pushed to the right of center. It's working in our favor in regards to the Overton window. Next super chat comes from Whole Milk 100%. Well, shout out to Whole Milk 100%. Throws in $3. Whole Milk 100% says, "Hello, David. How are you today?" Well, I'm doing well, brother. Had a wonderful day at church. God bless you. Hope you're doing well. He says, "The problem is," okay, let's hear the problem, Whole Milk 100%. "Most people consider themselves to be good based on cultural standards. At the same time, they judge other cultural standards to be wrong. If every man has his own truth, then no belief is superior to another." Amen to that, Whole Milk 100%. And I think that's part of where, Andrew Tate, he just doesn't, he doesn't delve into the type of stuff that we've dove into. He doesn't have that sophisticated theological basis. So he doesn't realize that's exactly right. He has a sort of secular Christian morality, but doesn't realize it comes from Christianity, and that the entire metaphysical theological structure of Christianity then reinforces his own view of himself being a good person because he doesn't hurt grandma and he doesn't steal and he doesn't basically do the 10 Commandments, I guess, except adultery, but I don't believe he's married, so I don't know how that whole thing works out. But yeah. So Whole Milk 100%, I agree. That's why not every man has his own. There's only one truth. That is Jesus Christ, the truth, the incarnation of truth, and we have to follow him to follow and find out the smaller T truths as we move. Del Bridge says, "David, you need to make videos on TikTok." Somebody has told me that. I'm not on TikTok. I don't even make clip videos for YouTube. Like, all my videos are like 2 hours long. People keep telling me, "Hey, you got to get a clips channel." Yeah, well, Del Bridge, you reach out to me, bro. Maybe give me a thought. I don't know what I would do on TikTok. What am I going to tell people? All my stuff is like, it takes like 30 minutes for me to lay out like a premise. It takes me forever to do anything. So I don't know. If you guys think I'm on, I'd be open to getting on TikTok or doing something. I don't know. I need to expand. I need to grow this thing. It's not growing at the rate I thought it would be growing at 2 years in. So I'm very optimistic. I'm very glad that everything is happening. You know, Church of the Eternal Logos is growing. It is successful. But, you know, if you guys got any ideas on how I can make this thing, grow it faster, grow it bigger, please let me know. If I need to get, I think a Clips channel may help. I was thinking about converting my old channel into a Clips channel. I don't know. If you guys got ideas, shoot it to me. So I'd be open. Next super chat comes from Crispy Johnson. Oh my gosh, Crispy Johnson never throws in a super chat. Crispy Johnson sends in $10.20. He says the €10 to buy Slowboy a drink in Nashville. Ooh, I'll get her a drink. Fellow Hoosier. Shout out to Slowboy in the chat. If she's still here. Is she still here? I don't see her. Anyway, shout out to her. She'll be going to Nashville. I will use the money. I will buy her a drink, Crispy. I will buy Kristen a drink. So, all right. Thank you very much, Crispy Johnson. Longtime viewer, first-time caller. You don't get many super chats to say Crispy Johnson on them, so God bless you, brother. Thank you very, very much. All right. Next super chat comes from See Me Rollin'. Throws in $5. Shout out to See Me Rollin'. And he says, I was unaware of Tate. Thanks for this topic. Boy, was this entertaining. Yeah, it's entertaining. It's not the most intellectual or spiritual depth, but it's certainly entertaining. It'll keep you smiling. Despite the disagreements we have with this man, overall, I see his coming popularity as a good thing in this current clown world, but also a reaction to the clown world. Yes, exactly. See me rolling. I couldn't agree more. He fits. He fits like we're against a juggernaut of clownish and foolishness and upside downness, and in a way, he's the perfect entity to kind of put up there, and they battle each other. So yeah. It's very interesting. Very interesting. I agree with you. Again, See Me Roland throws in $5 and says, I was unaware of Tate. Thanks for the topic. Boy, was this entertaining. Despite the disagreements which we may have with this man, which, yes, we have many, especially from a theological perspective. Overall, I see his coming popularity as a good thing in the current clown world, but also a reaction to the clown world. Exactly. Couldn't agree more with that. See Me Roland. Amen, bro. You nailed it. I couldn't agree more. Next super chat comes from The Green Feathers. Shout out to Nick of The Green Feathers. God bless you and your family, brother. Hope you are doing well. And he says, throws in $5 for the Ferrari fund. Yeah, for the Ferrari fund. Well, shout out to David Atkinson. If I ever get a Ferrari, I will definitely do a live stream from the driver's seat of my Ferrari. I wouldn't plan on it, but hey, Green Feathers, Nick, I will take your $5 and I'll put it in my temporary Ferrari fund. So thank you so much for that. Guys, make sure you go subscribe to the Green Feathers. God bless you and your family, man. Hope you guys are doing well. Next super chat comes from Corey. Throws in 777. Corey throws in 777, says, joined late, but I know it's going to be good. Just want to say thanks for all your content, brother. God bless, DPH. Well, thank you so much, Corey. I appreciate that, man. God bless you as well. I appreciate your support. Thanks for throwing in a super chat. Really appreciate it. Again, Corey says, thanks for all the content. Joined late, but I know it's going to be a good one. Well, thank you very, very much. David Atkinson says, we'd settle from a live stream from a tractor. Well, yeah, let's say I'm going to put that $5 in my homestead fund, and that way I'll do a stream with a cowboy hat from my tractor. Let's say that's what I'm saving up for. Yeah, because that's the other thing about, where I'm going, even though there's some things that I might agree with Andrew Tate in regards to the culture or this or that, I don't want to live in the city. I want to live as traditional as possible, but his whole thing, one of the things, the quotes that I've heard him say is that the idea of owning a house is an illusion, because if you owe money to the government and say it's for whatever business XYZ and you don't pay it, Or say you get a speeding ticket and you don't pay it and it's $20 and then now it's $100, now it's $500, you don't pay it, now it's $2,000, you don't pay it, now it's $10,000 and $100,000. Well, what's the federal government going to eventually do? They're just going to come take your home. And so do you ever actually own the home? Yeah, I think that's interesting. Slow Boy Metaphysician, get Andrew Tate on a stream. That would blow up my channel. If I got Andrew Tate, forgot my big super chat in February. Crispy Johnson, what was your big super chat in February? What was your big super chat in February? If I got Andrew Tate on this on this channel, I would blow up overnight. I would probably have over 100,000 subscribers. I would absolutely love to get Andrew Tate. And none of my original viewers, like all the people who watch my channel, they would hate that stream. It'd be so profanity-laced and all this different stuff. But it would definitely change my life because it would get a lot more people here. So, yeah, we gotta create the hashtag get Andrew Tate on COTEL, I guess. Oh, man. Well, looks like last super chat comes from Frankie D. Throws in another one. Shout out to Frankie D. Says, it took me a while to realize that the man who makes his life about bedding multiple women is no different than the incel metaphysically. They both worship the same God. Their lives revolve around women rather than God. I think that's a really good point, Frankie D. I think that that would absolutely essentially, yes, I agree with you. And that's part of the sort of worship of women. And that's what's ironic. Tate and, Andrew and Tristan Tate made millions of dollars from exploiting simps by using their girlfriends to talk with guys through webcams. And through doing that, then they would pay the girls to make tons of money. Isn't that ironic? I mean, that that the incel or the person who can't control themselves and is overly obsessive with women or hates women or the MGTOW stuff, and then maybe simps, and then you have Tate and the Tate brothers. I kind of see what you're saying there, Frankie D. Yeah, metaphysically, there's not a whole lot that are different. Yeah, we need to get Jordan Peterson on your channel. Dude, Jordan Peterson would change my channel. If I get Jordan Peterson or Jonathan Paggio, if I got Jonathan Paggio, I'd probably get another 1,000 subscribers. I need to read out. Does anybody know Jonathan Paggio? I need to get him on. Maybe I'm going to try to find somebody who has a connection, get Jonathan Paggio on. Maybe that'll then get me the Jordan Peterson connection. Then if COTEL, if DPH gets Paggio, then Peterson. Oh my gosh. David Atkinson, COTEF, Church of the Eternal Ferrari. Yeah, I don't know about that, but funny nonetheless. Yeah. All right, guys. Well, that looks like. Let me check Rockfin. See if there's any super chats over there. No super chats on Rockfin, but we got 8 live viewers. Shout out to everybody watching live over on Rockfin. And shout out to everybody here on YouTube. Guys, smash that like. I'm going to hop off here, guys. Thank you all very, very, very much for your support. Special shout out to everybody who super chatted tonight. Frankie D, very special shout out. Corey, thank you very much, brother, for the 777. Shout out to Nick from the Green Feathers. Shout out to See Me Rollin'. Shout out to the Crispy Johnson. Shout out to Whole Milk 100%. Shout out to MZ1994. Shout out to Dr. Fauci for the $5 super chat. Shout out to Nicodemus Smith. And shout out to Genghis Khan. And that's going to do it, guys. So smash that like. I hope you guys enjoyed this stream. And I will be back Tuesday with another stream. I don't even know what topic is going to be. So we'll find out. If you have a good topic, leave it in the comment from this video or send me an email or purchase, more ideally purchase, sponsor a stream. And that would be phenomenal. So anyways, guys, I appreciate it. Smash that like, and I will all see you again Tuesday.